Okay, I was trying to think about what to talk about today, and I thought maybe I should actually answer some of the questions that are in the YouTube comments. I love that when I don't get to the comments, sometimes it takes me a very long time to get to them. I'll see that someone else is like already, supported or helped someone that maybe is further down the road in the recovery journey, and that's so kind and great. Sometimes that advice is great, and maybe sometimes it's not so much, but I still think it's good that everyone's trying to support each other. But the question that I wanted to answer was a good one. All the questions are good, but this one I think is a common one that people fear and worry about in recovery. And it's the person's asking if I can address eating unhealthy foods, which that's kind of the foods, if you want to like label healthy and unhealthy, right? We can say like, oh, we shouldn't call them that, but it's not going to change the fact that people know there's different nutrients in an apple versus a hot fudge sundae, right? So in this context, the unhealthy food she's referring to is the hot fudge sundae. Specifically, she asks about sugar and how she knows it's not good for you, and outside of this person's question, I've had other people asking me like, how can I eat sugar if it's like been known to be addictive? I'm like, well, first of all, it hasn't been known to be addictive. I personally think, and this is just me up on my pedestal here, excuse me, I personally think that the people who feel, my goodness, the people who feel addicted to sugar are the people who have been restricting sugar, especially with a history of dieting, restrictive eating disorder, disordered eating, all of that stuff. As soon as you say you can't have something, this goes for everything in life, I feel like, right? Like with a kid, my Hazel, if I'm like, Hazel, honey, you can't get up on the stool and climb on the counter, guess what she's gonna do? And guess what she's gonna try to keep doing? It's like her life mission to find the stool and get up on the counter. And so I think whenever we're told like we can't have something, oftentimes our brain will fixate on that thing, especially if it's something we want, right? Then it's gonna fixate on it. And then by doing that, people are gonna feel absolutely crazy when they start eating it. Okay, now you might be hearing this going, oh my gosh, that is me. What you just said is me. Like, I do feel absolutely crazy when I start eating it. I'm in recovery and I am addicted to it because I just eat so much of it and I can't stop, and it's all I want to eat is just sugar. I don't even care about other food. Okay, again, the reason that you're feeling addicted and obsessed with it is because you restricted it for so long. Perhaps you still ate it, but in very limited quantities, right? You're never really eating it unrestrictedly, or maybe it's very controlled or structured into your day or whatever it was. Compensated for. And so when you finally start really eating it, it's going to feel out of control. It's going to feel crazy. Now, I've also had people, I'm kind of branching away from that question, just kind of trying to cover like other things that might fall under this topic of what we consider in recovery and people with eating disorders, unhealthy eating, right? The foods that essentially culture has demonized. Diet culture has absolutely, the fearmongering and the scare tactics that they use to essentially drive people more crazy around food, right? It's like this vicious cycle. But the claims and the things that people say that sugar is going to do to you and all these things is like, I can't even if they were true, like I still wouldn't change anything. But like some of them are just so blatantly ridiculous. I can't even take it serious. However, here's the problem. When, let's say there is some sound health advice on nutrition, right? That is for the general population. And I know that we talked about like you're not an exception in recovery, blah, blah, blah. But in this case, you're actually an exception for the rest of your life to anything that has to do with nutrition. Seriously. Like anything you hear about like, oh, don't have that, you should have this, any kind of extreme, any kind of forbidding of, any kind of fear mongering, really and truly, you cannot let it apply to you. You have to, for me, I don't even really like I don't seek it out. Definitely don't seek it out. Sometimes you'll hear like an ad come up on the radio, or maybe there's a commercial, or you're watching TV or something. But even that, I just like, I don't want to say I like mock it, but I just like giggle. It holds no value to me. Okay. I've a long time ago developed this tool of just being able to like censor that stuff, and just doesn't even sink into my brain anymore. And so when you're in recovery though, it'll very much sink into your brain if you're not careful. So in recovery, you actually have to actively stay away from that information, because as much as you want to say, oh yeah, I read that article and it doesn't affect me, when you're still very vulnerable and you're still in the process of rewiring, actually it does affect you. Maybe not immediately, but it absolutely is going to affect you, and it'll be internalized, and it'll be something that you have to kind of continue to tell yourself, no, this isn't, no, you have to fight against. And so instead, just be really cautious and be careful. Sorry, my tripod's about to fall here. You have to just be very careful with, even if, let's say you're in the checkout at a grocery store. In America, this is often, I don't know about in other countries. I don't recall in the traveling I've done in the past, I don't recall seeing like magazines at the checkout when you're standing there waiting to check out. I could be wrong. I probably am. But it's everywhere. It's like, the only things that are there that are like catching people's attention is just like body image, women in bikinis, men without shirts on, greased up. Like, it's just so pervasive that you have to just kind of develop a skill of becoming, I don't want to say desensitized. That's where you'll get to, I think, where it doesn't really affect you. But in recovery, you have to develop the skill of like actively looking away and just not allowing yourself to get sucked in. And that'll be really good to for rewiring, because you'll register to your brain this stuff isn't important. So in terms of the sugar question, I don't know anyone who's ever really started recovery and has started, especially this approach, and committed to this approach and started eating unrestrictedly, who has not wanted to eat a lot of sugar. You might be listening being like, I'm the exception, that's fine. But personally working with people, there are very, very, very few people who are just like, Becky, I don't know if this cannot be right. Like, I feel like I'm gonna get diabetes. I feel like I'm gonna, I don't know, like have a heart attack. I can't be eating, how am I eating this much sugar? And it's like, well, think about it for a second. Let's think, sugar, fast energy, right? It's a quick source of energy. And guess what? Your body really, really wants quick sources that are easy to digest. The reason that it's craving that is because it really does actually need it. And so try to trust those cravings, or the things that you want, or the things your body actually really does in fact need. And I'm sure you're listening to this going, no, I'm not underweight. No, not me. I've already gained some weight. No, not me. Like, I still have a period. No, not me. I don't have an exercise compulsion. No, not me. I still eat sugar every day. Whatever your exception that you're making right now about what I'm saying, I'm going to ask you to excuse and dismiss and truly take what I'm saying and apply it to your recovery. If there's something that you want and it's sounding good to you, and it's likely going to be lots of sugar and probably loaded with lots of fat and carbohydrates, and it's going to be very tasty and delicious, there's a reason you're craving it. But not only craving it, there's a reason you want to finish the entire cake, the entire pan of brownies, the whole batch of cookies. Like, there's reasons why you want to do that. And when you're weight restored and rewired, meaning like you've been in a place where all of that food has been freely accessible and available to you for a very long time, and your body has been able to learn again that food is coming in very regularly and as much as it wants and as much sugar as it wants, all of that's coming regularly, then your leptin and your ghrelin, and this might be over some people's heads, it might be like, what are you talking about? And others, most people with eating disorders know what I'm talking about. Those two will balance out, and it'll feel a little bit more comfortable. It'll feel a little bit more, I should say it'll feel less crazy, okay? You still will have fluctuations, right? I will have days where I eat a lot of sugar and I just am like gravitating towards it. I'm not really like thinking, oh man, today's I'm eating a lot of sugar. I just notice like I want the cookies, or I just want something sweet and I'm looking for something sweet. And other days it's like, I guess if it is out and I see it, I'll eat it, but it's not something I'm like, I really want this. And that's super normal. That is super normal. So anyways, I just realized I have a client and I've gone way over. I think I had 7 minutes and we're at 10. So this is gotta end, but hopefully it makes you feel less crazy and more normal, and just know that you're in the exact same boat as everyone else in recovery. Craving, obsessing, thinking about sugar, and being super afraid to eat it. But also, and this is the most important message of this video, you have to eat it in the quantities that your body is asking for, and don't make dumb rules around it, and don't put some kind of structure into it and compensate for it. You have to just eat it freely. And so you can do that now, today, right when this video is over, or you can do that in a month or a year. Maybe listen to 12 more videos like the same message that I'm saying before you decide you're gonna do it. But at some point you're gonna have to address all of the foods you're afraid of. And I'm guessing in your mind, they're all unhealthy. And so we've got to get you to a place where there's no moral value behind what you're choosing to eat. And there's no fear of what this might do to your health if you eat it. We've got to get those things out of your head and just trust your body. Okay, have a good day. Bye.